Hey everybody, it's Sean Erickson here on Spud Sessions. So, just want to briefly discuss, not too much time, about why there was a brief hiatus of content. Realistically, there was just nothing happening here. And a lot of it has to do with just my own personal living situation changing a bit drastically. Me and, well, now my ex, we broke up. So, I moved out of the apartment in Philly, back home in Jersey. I'm not going to dwell on details. I I want to say it was probably a mutual breakup, from my perspective anyway. And yeah, there was a bit of there's always going to be that bit of sadness with this kind of situation, but at the same time, I really looked at this positively, and I think it was necessary for both of us going forward. And I'm really happy that it happened the way it happened, and just want to thank a lot of friends and family that reached out and helped however they could. Special shout out to a couple guys actually. Coworker Ken, who I kind of became pretty close with this past year, actually came through and helped me pack a ton of stuff for moving out. Uzi also came by the one night and helped me pack a bunch of stuff into my mom's car to bring back to Jersey. And of course, appreciate my mom for everything she does for me. And that goes without saying, of course. Eric and Vince both came through with a big truck, and that was super clutch the one day they came through. Got like pretty much almost all of the apartment in that truck, and that was huge, honestly, fellas. Thank you so much, especially Eric, man. I mean, I was shocked that I'm shocked that you came out, brother. I appreciate it. I just want to say that from the bottom of my heart. And Vince, thank you so much. The truck was definitely a game changer, brother. Appreciate it. And also, I kind of glossed over Boozy, but like Boozy, brother, that General Tso's chicken sandwich at Oh Brother is probably like my favorite chicken sandwich of all time now. So I appreciate that. And just the heart to heart, honestly, kind of helped me better realize like I'm doing the right thing. So appreciate that. And I've had plenty of heart to hearts with plenty of people, of course. So I appreciate everyone that has reached out and stuff like that. So definitely appreciate everyone. So yeah, that was a bit of a life-changing event that took up a lot of time, just readjusting to life in Jersey and work and all that good stuff. But I think I'm finding the time again to do my creative outlet stuff, and this is pretty much my primary one that I enjoy. There's a couple of other projects I really want to work on, but I'm just now finding the time to really sit down and dive into that. All right, so that's about 3 minutes of me jibber jabbering. So let's talk about this week's episode, or this episode. I don't think we're doing weekly episodes here. So cartridges and crosschecks. So let me just kind of briefly explain if you didn't look at the show notes already. My first session is going to be with Drew and Alan. They are brothers, and they have been playing NHL 94 since its inception in 94. So they know a lot about the game. They play in leagues, and I would say they're professional players, although there's a joke about that within the session. So that was a good conversation, a good talk, especially if you're a fan of retro games. This is definitely for you, or hockey games in general. And then we have our second session this week is actually going to be with Eric, Boozy, and Vince. And this is something Vince brought up, I don't know, about a month ago, about talking about like favorite Pokemon game of all time. And I was like, damn, that's a really good idea. So we kind of ran with it for this. We were originally going to do a Mount Rushmore of Pokemon games, and this kind of turned into making a tier list anyway, which is fine. We didn't spend like over an hour on this, so it actually worked out really well. Proud of the boys for kind of being concise about it and kind of moving it along pretty well. And everyone has their opinion, so like we just gotta be respectful of their time and discussing that, and that's all that really is. Some opinions are wrong. I'm kidding. But yeah, no, it was good talks all around, both sessions. They were great. The one thing I do want to mention is in the second session for the Pokemon games, I recorded my screen for that as we were going through tiering them up. We used a tier list, so you'll actually visually see the tier list as we're working on it and like going through the motions. So if you're watching on YouTube, you will actually get the benefit of visualization and seeing everything we're discussing. I realized after the fact for the previous episode, hindsight 2020, I guess, but I realized if someone's not too familiar with certain sports and like we're discussing these logos, who the hell's gonna sit there and like Google on their phone all these team logos that we're discussing? Like, it's really hard to keep track of just listening to over audio. Like, it's almost impossible. So I feel terrible that we didn't record my screen for that, because I mean, we did essentially the same thing we did here, just didn't record it. So that's something we're looking at doing more in the future, is recording some of these sessions like with visuals and video, and whether it's like face cams or just recording the screen, whatever it may be. So expect more of that content on YouTube anyway, and Instagram and all that good stuff. I think that's pretty much it. A lot of ums in this intro. It's been a while, so my apologies. Let's get it rolling. Let's start with the first session, NHL 94. And you know what? We're gonna probably not have any like middle intermission. I think we're gonna roll right into the Mount Rushmore of Pokemon. So if it seems like a sudden change of content, that's all it is. We're just switching over from NHL 94 to the Pokemon session. And I'll probably hit you with a quick outro on the way out, but I mean, that's pretty much it. I appreciate you guys still listening in. Check us out on all the social medias and the show notes and all that. That's pretty much it. Thanks, guys. All right, now we're going to start our next session here about NHL 94, which is our cartridge expose, if you will, for this episode. I'm joined by, I don't know if you fellas want to consider yourselves pros or not, but definitely high enthusiast of the genre and of the game of NHL 94. We have I Am Drew and New Jersey Killer joining us. If you guys want to say hello.
Hello.
Pretty sure professional implies I get paid. I do it for the love of the game.
Right? I was thinking the same thing.
Fair enough. We also have two spectators in here. Well, with me as well, Potato or Sean, and Eric as Tough Times for Paco, and E-Swag. Vince is also here, but I think he's mostly listening in because he's curious. So I do have quite the assembly of questions. Al, I know, or New Jersey Killer, whatever you want to go by here. I know you actually just traveled to Toronto to actually participate in a tournament, if you will. And I do have a bunch of questions about that, but you guys started somewhere. So where does the journey of NHL 94 begin for you guys? Was it like back when it first dropped, or like a couple years after that you guys were playing back in the 90s, or how did that all work out? You guys are brothers after all, growing up in the same household, so curious.
I mean, I can't say I remember exactly when we first got NHL 94, but it was definitely way back in the day. And like my oldest NHL 94 memory is me, Al, our dad, and my best friend George doing our own little league that we kept stats on in a freaking notebook for every game. And you know, we've just been playing that game since, you know, mid 90s at the latest.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely my earliest memories of it too. Honestly, I can't believe how young I must have been looking back, but I guess now that I have nephews that are kids, I'm like, I guess 2 and 3-year-olds do play video games. Because I'm pretty sure I was probably 3 or 4 years old when we were playing this game. I remember losing every single game, regardless of the fact that I was playing as the Chicago Blackhawks most of the time, who are easily the best team in the game. I think it's pretty much undisputed. And like Druten said, you know, keeping stats in a notebook, and yeah, the four of us just getting together and playing into the wee morning of the hour, or wee hours of the morning, you know.
Does that notebook still exist?
Dude, I wish. Probably. In theory, it's somewhere, but almost certainly it's long gone.
So, Al, I know you just said that you were playing the Blackhawks. Drew, did you have a favorite team that you would pretty much select every time booting up, or kind of random?
I don't know that I necessarily had a favorite team. I feel like I played as the Blues a lot. I think I was the Blues in that little league, if I remember right. But
And you guys were playing on the Genesis, right? Like Sega
Yeah.
Genesis? Yeah. I kind of figured that. Did you guys ever play it besides emulation? Have you guys ever played it on Super Nintendo or not?
I haven't.
No,
Okay.
never
I
had the
was just curious.
cartridge. Nope.
And with that being said, I mean, so you guys already found the game to be very competitive at a very young age. Like you got like you said, you had the ledger, you had the notebook of all the scores and all the like keeping stats and in a league and whatnot. So what actually transpired to discover that there was like this online presence of NHL 94? Like, how did you guys discover this?
Um, I think I want to say I was the first one to kind of stumble on this community between the two of us,
I
but
think so.
from my memory, and actually we can talk about it a little bit. There's a guy on YouTube that goes by the name Clockwise, and will also go oddly enough as Jesus Plays NHL 94. I remember he made YouTube videos of like his highlights of NHL 94 clips. And I found that on YouTube one day. And it featured not only like amazing plays, but like I saw that he had a ROM hack with like updated player names and stuff. And that kind of opened the door to like me realizing that this game was getting played on emulation. I think maybe even in the description of his videos, he had like, come check out more at the NHL94online.com community. And yeah, that's kind of how I stumbled into it. And this was in like 7th or 8th grade. And then I'm like, yo, Druten, check this out, bruh. And we both just immediately got hooked pretty much.
Not to date ourselves too much, but 8th grade for us would have been 2008, 2000.
Oh
Not, no, no, no,
06.
no. Way earlier. Yeah, 06. Okay.
And if you look at the website, it says established fall of 2005. So I feel like I stumbled onto it about like a year after it really came online. And so kinda on the early end of this thing. Yeah, back in like 2006,
Yeah,
2007.
I just checked my account on the forums, and I joined the forum September 16th, 2006. So
Yep.
So
Checks out.
very early on when this was coming about, you guys were pretty much already in the thick of it.
Yep.
So what's the competitive scene like exactly? Like, I know there's a Discord that you guys are all a part of, and you guys pretty much coordinate games through that. But how does it work exactly? Is there different tiers of leagues? Is there different ROMs that people use for different purposes of a league?
Yeah, Druten, if you want to kind of start.
yeah, so yes to both those things. There's different tiers of leagues, different leagues, different leagues with different ROMs, either modern day players. Me and Al are in one where we're like advancing year to year, and we started in 1989, I think it was, or 88.
86.
Was it that far? In the
Yeah.
80s for sure. But yeah, like the league that's definitely been running since 2015 is just your classic league, and yeah, that one's tiered, uh, kind of based on how people have done in the past. Newbies get usually lumped in all together in their own group. And yeah, I feel they do a pretty good job of balancing skill level.
Yeah, especially with the classic, non-altered version, just the original game. There's really only like 8 teams roughly that are like competitive. So if you try to put like 20 people in the same league, you're gonna have guys that are playing with the Ducks and the Senators and the dregs of the league, and they just won't be able to compete with the top tier teams. So even like with that, it's kind of best to just kind of keep the leagues to like 8 to 10 players. And then they'll do again tiers based on skill rating and your history, how long you've been playing, your reputation in the community, that kind of thing.
So if a player is pretty like dominant in one ROM per se, Because I know there's also like the weight bug, for example. I know ROMs have it, some don't, for example.
Right.
Is that something where like are most of the top tier players pretty good at adapting to different ROMs, or is there like some players have a niche, like they're only good on this kind of ROM, or they're only good at like these era of players?
I would say for the most part, your game carries from ROM to ROM. If you're good at the game, you're just good at the game. Um, in certain leagues, like the one Druten reference with the franchise mode we're doing, you have a little more ability to kind of customize your roster. So some guys prefer the lightweight players that are great at body checking, that are really speedy, and they just look to score a lot of breakaway goals. Other guys are more looking to set up the one-timer, so they look for players with really good shot power and shot accuracy. So I feel like some players are a little better in those leagues where they can really customize the roster compared to just playing with whatever they got on the original game. But for the most part, the top players are the top players from league to league.
Would you say, like, for example, there's any kind of like you kind of just hit on it a little bit with like, certain players go for the speedsters, some people go for one timers. Like, is there a certain meta that just seems to dominate more than others and people gravitate towards that? Or is there not really like one set meta?
I mean, I feel like there's a reason the best players in the game are lightweight speedsters. So
Okay.
the guys with high agility, high speed, just the ability to get away from the defense and create opportunities, that's just always gonna be the number one like method, I guess, if you will.
Yeah.
Because I mean, for the time frame when the game came out, I mean, there's only so much technology you can pack into a game.
Uh-huh.
Um, so like as far as like simulating a hockey game goes, it's almost next to impossible. It's really an arcade style hockey game. But like, do you think any kind of like know-how or hockey knowledge really placates into playing NHL 94? Do you think anyone could kind of just pick it up and naturally be good at the game if they kind of spend enough time and figure it out on their own?
I mean, Drew, you wanna kinda
Yeah, like you
what
said,
would you
with it
think?
being arcadey, I don't think you necessarily need to like be a hockey super fan to be able to be good at the game. But a little hockey knowledge, I'm sure, helps.
I would
Would
say
you
too, um, like from some of the videos and documentaries even that kind of have come out about this game, and I haven't consumed as much of it as maybe you would think, considering how big of a fan of the game I am. But I do remember hearing that, like, I'm pretty sure some of the people that made the game weren't even really hockey fans themselves.
I've
Like,
heard this.
the team that made the game was out to make a fun game, not to make a hockey simulation. So, I think that kinda lends itself to being, more of just, like, yeah, something that just it's not it's like it's more like it's almost like I like to compare it to bubble hockey, where it's just like you're just
Good
going up
fun.
and down the ice and whacking the puck and shit's flying around left and right, and it's not necessarily a simulation, it's just insanity.
It's just good fun.
Yeah.
Um, Now, because I know I've watched you plenty of times, and I feel like there are certain mechanics that skill players learn or discover.
Mhm.
And like, what would you say are like probably some of the harder mechanics to learn in that game? Like things to pull off that is like cheese, if you will. Like what kind of things at your experience level do you think is like hard to learn, but if you master it, it's like you're gonna be able to play with top tier players?
I mean, for sure, like, and again, just to give you an idea, like, for me personally, like coming online and playing this game against all these guys, it was like my mind was blown by
Yep.
the techniques and stuff that people were doing with this game. So before I ever came on here, I was just like any other Joe Schmo doing simple slap shots and one-timers. We called it the cross crease cheese, where you just kind of skate right across the front of the goalie and he kind of like falls down and you shoot it into an open net. Like that was about the extent of like moves, even, if you will. But so some of the things that, I've kind of learned and seen these other guys come up with, the pass shot would probably be the first thing that comes to mind.
Yep.
Basically the idea is if you're controlling the puck with a player and he has no teammates further up ice than him and you press pass, your player will just pass it in a straight line at like maximum speed, like almost faster than you could do a slap shot. So that's one of the big ones where, not only could you kind of aim it to the sides of the goalies, but you can also shoot it in between their 5-hole. I almost think that's something that we did on accident as kids, where
Probably.
but you didn't even really like think to try it on purpose.
Repeat.
Manual goalie control is like my personal specialty. And while that's not necessarily like a trick, it's just skill, I guess. But I think that's like a big differentiator between kind of the top tier and the low tier. And then obviously I'll just, also quickly touch on, and we can kind of expand on a couple of these things, but a big thing is the CB check. Basically, you mentioned the weight bug earlier in the podcast. Players that are lighter weight are easier or are harder to knock down and are better checkers. And players that are heavier in weight are easier to knock down and worse checkers. So typically your really small guys like the Timu Solanis, the Pavel Bures, the Peter Bondras, they end up being like the most devastating defensive players because they just knock everybody down. But and this is more of a recent discovery in the community from what I understand. If you basically, they call it a CB check because you're pressing C to initiate the body check and then pressing B to switch off of the player. And what that does is it, now the player that's checking is controlled by the CPU. And when it's the CPU checking, the calculation on if you'll knock them down or not is totally different. So it's kind of the way it's supposed to be in theory, where a big, heavy defenseman checking a lightweight winger is going to be more successful. And so now that's kind of become a big part of the meta where people are taking heavy defensemen, starting a check, and then quickly switching off of them so the CPU finishes the job. I know that was kind of like a run-on. That's a lot of words, but I hope you
get it.
you see what I'm saying.
That's interesting. And that's something more recent, you said? That was kind of...
Yeah.
Yeah, and like from what I understand, I think a couple people kind of knew about it and were kind of keeping it under wraps a little bit. Yeah, gatekeeping it. But then maybe other people were like, yo, why does this guy seem to be pulling off body checks with the heavy defenseman like nobody else? And someone's like, ooh, they're switching off,
So they can watch the tape and just say, okay, I see what he's doing now.
Yeah.
So, like, in our franchise league, and all the leagues now, it keeps stats. And if I just pulled up the stats, if you look at the top 10 checkers, number 1 is Ray Bork, who is heavy. So that guy who's been playing definitely knows how to CB check with Ray Bork. It also the CB checking, I think, also actually calculates in the checking ability stat. So, like, Ray Bork led the league in checks. Then the next 5 or 4 players, Theo Fleury, Doug Gilmore, Nelson Emerson, and Andrei Kovalenko, are all super lightweight, buggy dudes. And then Scott Stevens, Eric Lindros, Kevin Hatcher, Rob Blake. The back to heavy guys.
Yeah. But if you looked 5 years ago, it had been the top 20 or 30 would have all been their lightweight buggers.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. So even, the game came out, oh my God, I'm doing the math. What,
32 years ago?
31, 32 years ago? We're still finding new things about this game. Like, that's actually, and it's a game that's played daily, like religiously by people.
Yep.
That's actually kind of insane. I know you touched on the whole manual goalie control out. Is that something a lot of the top tier players do? Like, Drew, do you use manual goalie a lot, or is it like a certain situation?
I don't use it as much as Al. Al's definitely better at it than I am now. But like if you don't use it, you will give up goals. Like you have that is definitely a skill you need to master to like up tiers.
Gotcha.
And I would say there's a certain amount of like Drewton's saying, there's a certain amount of like not everybody uses it the same amount. Not every great player depends on it. It also has a lot to do with your actual goalie, like Patrick Waugh, Ed Belfour. You can kind of lean on the computer controlling a goalie a little more than maybe a worser goalie.
Mm-hmm.
But like Drewton said, if you absolutely never use it, people are going to pick up on that and just score, the same way we score when we're playing the computer, 10, 12 goals a game. Like, you certainly have to be able to use it to a certain degree. And I think, again, that's a big part of the meta in that people kind of pick up on when and how often that particular opponent does use manual goalie, and they're going to attack differently based on that.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say, like, because it kind of just reminded me of what you just said, though, when you said, like, picking up on other players, like, tactics and whatnot. Like, preparing for a game, do you guys do any kind of, like, practicing? Like, do you just boot up a game and, like, go against a bot or something, or, like, play exhibitions with other people? Or do you guys actually watch tapes from other people's games to, like, see how they play before you play them?
Drew, what do you
No,
say?
I don't usually. I mean, probably could, but
I would say,
no.
I mean, I'm getting more and more active with streaming games. People love my commentary, so people actually send me recordings of games they're playing against other people because they want me to do commentary over their recordings, which does actually give me a chance to watch other people's games. I have in the past gone back and watched recordings of my gameplay against certain opponents to try and like see where things were going wrong or where I could improve against them. That's only usually particularly against like maybe 2 or 3 guys that are giving me a tough time. As far as like practicing and stuff, again, considering we've been playing this game for almost the entirety of the 30 years, we don't really need to like warm up so much anymore. We can kind of just hop right in and kind of like riding a bike, be right back on it. One thing I'll say is people have made like a 1v1 ROM where instead of playing 5 guys versus 5 guys, it's just 1-on-1 with 2 goalies. And I have done my fair share of hopping on there either by myself with a CPU or with somebody else in the community, particularly to work on our breakaway deeks. So that's one example of like pre-game training I've definitely done, and especially for the pass shot technique we talked about. There's only maybe a handful of times in a game where it actually presents itself. So it's like hard to get a lot of reps at it if you're only playing real games. That's a technique that you need to like go on and just spend an hour just trying over and over until you can really get the muscle memory down.
Gotcha. With that being said, like being able to play with other players online, because you just said like how you can 1v1 and how you and one other guy will go in and work on breakaways together. What would you say, like, how does your setup work exactly? So obviously you guys have to use an emulator and boot up into the game. Does the computer matter for this at all? The controller? Like, what matters here when someone's getting set up for the first time? Like, as a rookie or a newbie who's interested in this, what would you tell them? Or, like, what kinda setup would you advise?
I mean, honestly, maybe me particularly not like the best person to ask that. I would say, for starters, we obviously, like you said, we have the NHL 94 Discord. There is even channels inside that Discord that are like setup and first time players and how to install the emulation. Like the community, not anything I've done, but the community has done an amazing job at like breaking this stuff down and making it easy for people to learn how to install the emulator. I use like a Logitech M30 controller that you can order on Amazon for 15 bucks. I know a lot of people use an adapter where they can actually plug their original Sega Genesis controller into the computer through USB. Um, I would say pretty much any computer would work. I know there's even some guys in the community that think older older PCs are better. I don't even again, I don't know how to explain why they think that or whatever, but there's like a certain amount of guys that swear by their like 2010 Lenovo laptops. Uh but yeah, pretty much any computer, any controller that works with a PC. Again, I would recommend something that has a really good D-pad. If you're playing on an analog stick or something like that, forget about it. Because of course Sega only had 8 direction movement, not full 360. So, but that's pretty much how I would answer that, man.
What about you, Drew? Do you have, like, any special controller or anything like that?
I mean, I currently use the 8BitDo SN30. It's like what if a Super Nintendo controller got merged with a PS2 controller.
Oh, cool. I do like that company, actually. They make cool stuff.
Yeah, I've been wanting to get their Sega Saturn controller, but I just keep being lazy. But yeah, I don't know. I think this controller's fine. It's basically the same controller Al has.
If it works, don't fix it, don't replace it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like Al just said, there's people out there with their, 20-year-old ThinkPads from Lenovo or whatever, and that seems to do the job. So if top tier players are working off of that, I think that's an indication right there that anyone can kind of break into the scene.
And if I could actually quick note before
Yeah.
you ask another question too. When I first started playing, I was playing on keyboard. And
Wow.
there is still a certain small segment of players that play on the keyboard, and it actually like it can be kind of an advantage, in
No
my
way.
opinion. Yeah, because like
Well,
you
because you can
can
hit left and right at the same time.
that's a big part of it. Yeah, that's honestly probably the biggest part. And that's what I was gonna say, like you can do it multiple directions at the same time in a way that's not possible on a D-pad.
Mhm.
And also like just imagine feathering up left, up left, up left, up left on a D-pad versus on a keyboard. You can do it a lot faster.
Mm.
And you
Yeah.
can actually, again, it's a lot rarer these days. I don't think there's many guys doing this, but you can kind of tell when you're playing against people that are using a keyboard. Because again, they kind of do certain movements in the game that are like theoretically impossible.
Gotcha. Um, I mean, with that being said, with all these older methods of playing the game with like keyboard and mouse, I guess not really mouse, but just keyboard. How do you think this, like, NHL 94 community has been staying alive for so long, honestly. Like, is the game just that good, or is it really the people that just keep it alive? It's like a cult following almost, but I feel like it's still growing.
Um, I think it's definitely a mixture of both. Like I'll say I recently did just get involved in an NHL 95 league online. And this is like its own separate community, basically. Not a ton of like a crossover. Like a lot of these guys that are playing in the NHL 95 league don't play NHL 94 for whatever reason. When they were kids, that was the one that got them hooked, and they've been playing that one for just as long. Um, but in my opinion, if you look like immediately that next game, NHL 95, I think they really did immediately kind of start trying to make it quote unquote more realistic. I think NHL 94 does just have that perfect arcade, high speed, fun vibe about it. But also, I would say just through my personal experience of kind of meeting these guys up in Toronto the last 2 years, a lot of the core members of the community, if you will. I mean, these guys have been friends for 20 years now. Playing online, meeting once a year in person or a couple times a year, maybe. I think that's a big part of what keeps a lot of these guys. Again, I'm 33, Drewton's 39. We're the young guys in the community in a lot of
Yeah.
ways. There's, a lot of these guys obviously were in college playing NHL 94 in their dorm rooms, and that's where they fell in love with it. And, we talked about our little 4-man league. These guys were doing the same thing in their dorm room, just the same way we're playing NCAA football 26 every week, texting each other about it. These guys were kind of doing that on the Genesis back in the day. And so I think I mean, like most retro activities, retro hobbies, there's a big part of trying to hold on to your youth, right? And I think just, again, staying young and remembering the good old days is a big part of what keeps NHL 94 alive.
Were there,
Mhm.
like, any, like, big rivalries? Like, I don't know if anything like this is documented, like, on YouTube or anything like that. You know how, like, in Counter-Strike, obviously, there's, like, big rivalries and, like, it comes down to a final where it's like, "Oh, this team" like David versus Goliath sometimes or whatever. Has there anything like that been documented on YouTube where it's, like, almost like a wrestling vignette, if you will, like a promo or whatever, where it's like, "Oh, wow," like, this is, like, big hype, like a big hyped match? Or is it mostly just a lot of trash talk on Discord kinda deal?
From what I know, there was actually like a documentary type video made for the original first King in 94 tournament. Um that definitely has a little bit of that spice and that flair that you're talking about, kind of hyping up games between particular guys. Um I mean, again, this is mostly just a self-contained community that does everything on a Discord nowadays. Um, but I would say, again, over the last, I've gone to two these King of 94 tournaments in Toronto now. Um, Angry Jay is the back to back to back to back to back 5 times in a row champion, I think now. So he obviously is like respected and known as the best player in the world at this shit. Everybody's trying to take him down. He's got a couple of guys that give him a good game here or there, but he hasn't lost a game even at the last 2 tournaments I've been at. Um, and on the Super Nintendo side, again, it's actually, we barely touched on the fact that again, me and Drewton grew up playing Sega Genesis version. We compete in Sega Genesis leagues. The Super Nintendo is almost like its own bracket where you have guys who only play Super Nintendo. And so a guy that goes by the Professor, he won the last two Super Nintendo tournaments. So there's definitely at least a couple guys on both systems that are kind of like everyone's targeting when they go to Toronto.
I was waiting for Drew to say like, yeah, me and Papa had a big rivalry back in the day before the internet. It's like back in the living room. All right, I have 3 closeout questions here. And that's pretty much it. I think that's good. First of all, is there any clips? I mean, this is kind of what I was trying to allude to with my last question.
Okay.
Is there any like clips that are like out there on YouTube that you would, or maybe Twitch, that you would like suggest to someone who doesn't know anything about NHL 94's like online community yet, and just be like, hey, like watch this. Like this is something that could hook someone into that.
Man, this is a question that I wish I told you to tell me to be prepared for so I could like send you stuff. So maybe this is something that I can hit you with that you
We
can
can
put in
post.
like
Yep.
put in like the episode notes. If I sit here like literally if I just
Like even if it's something like a fluky goal or like something that's just like mad skill and you're like, oh my God, like a oh my God moment, if you will.
Again, I would say just like for starters, uh, for starters, I would say again, like I said, kind of at the top of the video. I mean, they're kind of outdated, a little older now, but if you were to look up Clockwise, and that's like clock WIZE, he kind of was like one of the first ones to really put up like he's got like a 10-minute highlight film, and just watching that will like again, I think the first time I saw that, I was like, whoa, like I thought I was good at NHL 94. Like this is really how you play NHL 94. Like it blew my mind. There's also a NHL 94 podcast, is the name of the channel on YouTube. They have not only tons of games from our online community, but interviews and like short documentaries and stuff on there. That's a guy, Len the Legend, who, I mean, is just a gem, a sweetheart, and a doll of a person. He loves the game. He loves sharing his enthusiasm with it. So, like, tons of videos on there would be a great start. And also, if you just search NHL 94 documentary on YouTube, there's a great hour-long video from the No Clip channel. Classic Gaming Quarterly made a video about the game. NHL 94 doc by Mikey McBrien.
We'll definitely have to link some stuff in the show notes.
Yeah,
for this.
I would say those are all like again good spots, and we can throw them down in the show notes.
Yep. This question, actually, the last 2 questions here, they're kind of a vice versa, and I think Drew is gonna probably have the best answer for these. But for both of you guys, what's one feature for NHL 94 that you like? What's something? It doesn't have to be a feature. Like, what's something from NHL 94 that you wish modern day games had or like captured for the modern day, and vice versa? Like, what's something you wish 94 actually did have?
Well, I mean,
That's
I
a
don't
good
know.
question, dude.
Yeah, like in my mind, I think NHL 94 is perfect the way it is.
Nothing
Like,
needs to change.
no, like there are people like ROM hacking fighting back into the game. I'm like, nah, fuck that shit. I don't ever want to play in a ROM that has fighting in it. Fighting in those old Genesis hockey games is bullshit.
It's just like spam the button as much as you can.
Yeah, and it's like basically random when it happens. It's the most fucking like shitty mechanic.
No
And
rhyme
I'm
or
like,
reason.
it's like, oh, a random check happened, fight. You have no like choice over this.
Yeah,
Like,
your star player is now out of the game for the entire period because he decided
Oh
to fight,
no.
like that kind
yeah,
of thing,
it's
right?
fucked.
Like it doesn't make any
Yeah,
sense.
I don't know why people are obsessed with putting it back in the game. It was never a good mechanic. But
Okay.
whatever.
It's a solid point.
Um, I've stopped yelling in the Discord anytime people bring it up because I'm just like, whatever, I'm over it.
You already died on that hill.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. Like, it's hard.
Like, what's something that you would want to bring from like the NHL 94 era to the modern era of NHL games?
Well, like,
I know it's two different games. Like one's more arcade, one's more
yeah,
simulation.
and that's where it's hard to say I want to bring anything from that because it's just such a different thing.
Do you think
Like,
the simulation of the games need to be less simulated and more arcadey?
well, I guess maybe that's the thing to say about like the modern games is they're too in the middle. Like, it's not going heavy enough one way or the other.
I see. I kind of agree with that, actually. I mean, we've all been there where people are doing hip checks from center ice to 30 feet the other way, and
Right.
somehow, yeah. No, I could see what you mean, but the rest of the game seems to be mostly simulation. I guess I could understand and agree with that aspect. Is like pick a side, stop being on the fence.
Um, I think I think that, like, there's, like, this, like, desire to make the most realistic thing, like, that's everyone, like, just not just with hockey games or sports games, but just in general, everyone's trying to be like, "Look how close this is to real life." But then the problem is it's not fun. So then they have to kind of, like Drew said, they have to kinda, like, middle halfway it to try to keep the fun, and then it's like you end up getting this mishmash product of, like, "We're sim, but we're not." And it's like, I get that if you went full heavy sim, it might not be, like, popular or fun for the casual, but, like, it would be dope for, like, the people that really love hockey. Um, so I think that's kinda where their problem is with that.
Agreed.
Um, I would say, uh, just a couple of things I was trying to think of, like, again, just the like, what's actually possible versus, like, somehow I would say, like, some sort of deflections mechanic in a retro hockey game would be sweet, like,
Ooh.
if I could shoot the
Okay,
puck and it would, like, get deflected by the guy, like, I think that's a big part of hockey that you don't get in retro hockey
that's
games.
fair. Yeah,
How that would actually work and would it be fun? I don't know, because I tend to think that these deflections in the modern video hockey games are just RNG cheese, and it's not necessarily fun, so,
mhm,
that's a tough line for me to even cross anyway. Um, I honestly just wish, for me, like, I think that passing the puck has become too, uh, like, tedious, and it's like, I just like that when I had a guy to my like, it should be tape to tape passing every time. I don't wanna have this, like, bad passes all the freaking time. Like when you play old hockey games, if you have a guy to your left and you press pass and left, it's a perfect pass to the guy to the left. Like it just makes it so much more easy to play. And like you're gonna have great passing plays and like these triple pass one timer setups that like you get lost so often in these new games where like every time I make a pass, it hits some dude's skate or like because I didn't hit the exact perfect XY axis on my analog stick, it misses them by a couple of inches. Like, it's just too fine-tuned. I wish they would just let the passing be more, like I said, tape to tape.
Makes sense.
I
Yeah, I mean,
well, I agree with that, except not NHL '94 is far from perfect about that shit. The amount of
That's
times
true.
I'm, like, pushing left and the pass goes back the middle, and I'm like, "That's nowhere near the person I was trying to fucking pass it to. What the fuck, game?" Is more
Yeah,
than 0.
for sure, for sure. But, like, even those, Like, oh man, there's a certain amount of those where like people are like, why did he pass it? There's a certain level of like understanding. Like sometimes you think pressing left and pass would pass it to the guy directly to your left, but it actually makes your guy pass it to the left winger who's like further behind you. And like sometimes it feels kind of like messed up and random, but other times I'm just like, you gotta know what the game's gonna do. But there's a fine line there for sure.
Well, lots of insights. I guess closing thoughts here. The Flyers are up 5-2 tonight. So they're
Hey,
doing
let's
that.
go.
They're doing the thing. They're playing the Kraken. Dude,
let's go.
Tippett, goal per game pace right now. He's got
Let's
2 tonight.
go.
Yeah, he's finally doing the thing.
Wait,
There you go.
what
Season
is the
for Owen Tippett.
Kraken?
Seattle.
Sorry, I only know NHL 94 teams. I don't know.
There's not a ROM that includes them yet?
Of course
Come on.
there is.
Exactly.
I'm 2-time champions as the Vegas Golden Knights in one of our leagues.
See? All right, there you go.
So I'm just joshing.
Just joshing around. All right. Other than that, I feel like I took up a lot of your guys' time, so that was actually my closing thoughts there. I don't know if you guys wanted to throw anything in. Obviously, Al, New Jersey Killer on Twitch. I'm going to throw that in the notes as well.
Appreciate it.
Of course. I don't know if there's any other closing thoughts you guys have before we wrap up. Drew, if you have any.
I mean, just if you're interested, go to NHL94.com. Like,
and I want to
that'll
also
get you all
include
linked in there and set up.
Yeah, I want to include their Discord as well in the show notes too.
Yeah,
if anyone's
definitely
interested
do that.
Joining that
Again,
community. Yep.
There's great channels in there for how to get set up. There's a channel in there for, hey, I'm looking to play a game online for the first time. Who will play with me so I can like learn how to connect to another guy? Like there's always people online willing to like
cool.
meet up and play. So like trying to find people that are not only like down to play, but are going to be helpful and like understanding getting you set up for the first time. There's so many people out there for that.
Beautiful.
I also definitely got to do one I want to shout out the homie Halifax, aka Daryl Sampson. He's kind of like the guy that I believe started the website. Could be off about that. There's a couple of other guys that play a big part in actually running the website and making it all possible. But he's also the guy that runs the King of 94 tournament and organizes that every year. Shout out to him for making that tournament possible. King of 94 will be again in Toronto next year, next September. There's rumors of it going on the road in years in the future, maybe back to Las Vegas, maybe somewhere in the United States. That's really awesome. It's like a big community meetup once a year. So I would say look into that if you're ever interested in maybe doing some sort of voyage to meeting a bunch of people who have a passion for the greatest hockey game of all fucking time.
There it is. That's the statement. That's the end statement right there.
Sure
Thank
is.
you, fellas. Thank you, Drew.
Thanks,
Thank you, Al.
You're
of
welcome.
course. It's a pleasure. Thanks for listening to Eric and Vince.
Hey, my boy.
You guys were here. Hey. All right, fellas. I appreciate it. We're going to close this out. On to the next segment.
A few moments later.
All right. Now to talk some cartridges here. We have a few guests, some repeaters. We got Tough Times for Paco. Eric, say hello.
Yo.
V Swag 21. Vince, what's up?
What's good, man?
And Zach, aka Boozy. Hello.
What's up?
There we go. So pretty much we're going to be discussing the Pokemon games, the RPG games that we all loved as our childhood youth years went on and played on our Game Boys and all that. We're only doing non-spin-offs, right, guys? Like we're only doing the main storyline mission games, whatever you want to call them, the main core games of Pokemon, like Red, Blue, etc.
We're not doing pinball or
I don't have any
Or
Rescue
pinball.
Ranger games on here.
Rescue Ranger, there you go.
Yeah.
Pokemon Snap, Stadium, all that.
I mean,
We don't
Pokemon
need all
Snap
that.
is goated.
So
But
is Stadium. Stadium's pretty good as well.
Stadium
But
was
yeah,
really
we'll
fun.
stay away from those for now.
All right. So we're only going based off those core games. Obviously, I think it goes without saying, all of us have definitely not played all of the games. That's, a fact.
Yes.
Um,
Definitely on
so
the same boat as you. I have not played all the
yes,
games.
yes, I think that's fair to say about all of us. So our list is going to be different from everyone else's in the world. That's a given, and that's fine. It's our list though, and it's our Mount Rushmore. If anyone's unfamiliar with a Mount Rushmore of anything, it's always the top four, and how you determine the top four is really up to you. It could be the top four just based off the gameplay, top four based off the storyline, or just top four everything considered. So we're going to kind of go through that and dissect this together, and we'll get through it pretty quick, I think, because I think we're kind of all on the same page with this. We're all in the same age bracket. I think what we could do here first, guys, we're going to go through the list of games that are here, and we're going to we don't have to necessarily tier them on this tier list. This is just a reference for us. I think S tier is like, hey, like these are contenders for Mount Rushmore. And then B could be like, fringe. And then anything below that is like, yeah, we don't care. And then NA is like, we've never played or whatever, like as a collective unit.
Yeah, that's fair.
Fair enough. All right. And we already kind of discussed this, but like Pokemon Blue and Red, same fucking game. We're going to throw it in the same boat. Like that takes up one face of the Mount Rushmore. Yellow would be considered a separate game, though. I think we all agreed on that too, correct?
Yep. Yes.
Cool. All right, moving along then. I guess we can just kind of go from like left to right, essentially. First one I have here is actually Alpha Sapphire. First of all, has anyone played this game?
I have.
You have. And your thoughts? I have too. So what's your thoughts
All right,
on
so
Alpha
are we lumping
Sapphire?
this in obviously with Omega Ruby as well, right?
Yes,
Yes,
yes. So
yes.
this would count both of those games. They're essentially the same. Here, I'll put them up together. Zach, how do you feel about this game here?
I would say it's probably A. It's low A or high B.
I actually liked it as well. I'm gonna be real with you. In fact, this is something that I kind of was fighting in my own like self fight. Like, hey, is this worthy of the top four? And we can kind of get into that a little bit later. Let's just keep moving along here. We have Pokemon. I think this is Black and White 2. Has anyone played these games?
I have. It was okay from what I remember. I don't remember it very well. It was
People love Black and
so-so.
White. I am not the biggest fan of the Pokedex in Black and White. I'd
Yeah, it's just
probably
strictly the new Pokemon in that one. Just the new 156.
I
And
just
I
I think
agree.
some of the worst starters too, like but storyline wise it's like regarded as one of the best. Like a lot of people have Black and White 2 in their Mount Rushmore.
And I could see
It-
that. I do agree. The storyline for these games were very good, but I think for me to enjoy a Pokemon game is I want to play with the Pokemon that I love. And that was not an option in these games, unfortunately. These would
Yeah,
not
I
make
think
my
that's a
Mount
big thing.
Rushmore. I agree. I think that's huge. Like that's a part of the it's in the title, Pokemon. Like
Mhm.
I think that's, very important. I don't think these would make it to my Mount Rushmore. Does anyone else have them on a Mount Rushmore?
It was fringe for me.
Okay. I think that's fair to say it's not making it then.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm just gonna put blue and red up there. Do we even need to discuss this or
Yeah, because it's not mine.
really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got. I might jump the gun here a little bit, but yellow is above red and blue for me.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely.
Yellow
Okay.
is in my
And
Mount
like and
Rushmore.
and clearly above.
But I think this is a perfect gateway to put the two that should be in the Mount Rushmore.
Fire Red.
Leaf Green and Fire Red.
Yeah. Yeah. That should roll right into it.
Yeah.
Just because there's
Yeah.
3 different versions of the game.
It's
Yeah.
the Venusaur.
Emerald.
Yep. Yeah. No, those
Bringing
are
it to color and
easily plus. No, it doesn't technically count, but if you're basing it off of just like what those games have given us, 90% of ROM hacks are based off of Leaf Green and Fire Red because they're the easiest to mod. So
Oh
like
yeah.
it's just given us so much like content-wise outside of just the base games. Plus, it had first 3 generations you could pick from. But yeah, it's just easily S tier game.
Controversial here. I'd never played Fire Red and Leaf Green.
I wish I was in your position right now. Like, I wish I just never played it and got to play it for the first time. That would
It's
be awesome.
honestly, it's
I
just
stopped after Crystal, and then I came back in Heart Gold, Soul Silver.
Can we talk about Crystal real quick? Because this is actually on my Mount Rushmore.
It's
I don't
on
know
mine
if this
too.
is okay.
Yeah. That
Does
and
anyone else-
Yellow and Crystal are on my Mount Rushmore, 100%. Yellow,
Does
you
anyone
let you
else
get all
have
the-
this on there, or is like hard opposed to that?
It wouldn't be
That's-
on mine. It would be towards the top. Like it's definitely. I would give it like an A tier, but it wouldn't be on my top 4.
On the
but
fringe.
yeah.
Okay. So right now, I mean, these two are pretty much a lock. When I say 2, I mean obviously 1.
Yeah.
All right, we got Pokemon Diamond.
So this is
or
this is Shining Diamond, and then you can grab that like
Pearl. Where's the
other
Pearl
Pearl.
one?
It's right below Emerald in the second row.
Damn,
Yeah.
good eyes.
You
All
can put that in D tier. Those games are awful.
Yeah, I don't remember enjoying these at all, actually.
They turned them.
And I
It
played
came out a couple years ago for Switch. And they turned all the characters into like chibi characters. Yeah, it's awful. It's the art
anime
direction
is
is awful.
terrible.
Yeah.
It,
Yeah.
it
No, no,
was,
no,
it
no.
was bad. I
Coming
mean, the
from-
story
coming
is
from-
like the changes they made are fine, and like some of the stuff's kind of cool in it actually. Like that's the Gigantamax, right? Came out in that one.
I think it was. I don't think it, so. It wasn't part of that. It just came out with it. Or like
Yeah,
came
because
out
it came out years
around.
later. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So like
Had the
it was
upgrades to
included
it.
in that.
Fair to say that the regular Diamond and Pearl kind of fit right there with them.
No, not at all.
They're worse.
No, not at all. Diamond and Pearl. I mean, it's so I would put Diamond and Pearl in A, but Platinum is easily. Pokemon Platinum is easily the best DS game.
Oh, you
Out of
said
Platinum
Platinum.
is like the
wait.
It's
No,
the
no,
better
so-
made
so
version.
yes,
Best made
so
version
Diamond-
of that game
Diamond-
for sure.
Platinum is the Emerald version of Diamond and Pearl.
Yeah.
I see what
It's
you're
the
saying.
third game.
The
So it's
yellow
the third
version
game.
of blue and red.
Exactly. Yes. So Pokemon Platinum is easily the best DS game, DS Pokemon game. 3DS, regular Nintendo DS, any of them. It's easily clears.
A
There's
tier to
I will
S tier.
turn off my computer right now if that's not an S tier.
Platinum?
Yes.
I'll do it for that, but I don't think it's making them out right. We'll see. It's possible.
Yeah, that just means you guys hadn't played Platinum.
I have though. I've played all these except for Arceus. I haven't played that.
That's in
I
my
think that's it. Go ahead, say it.
I was gonna say that's in my top 4. If you're gonna
Really?
if you're gonna get a modern Nintendo like a Switch game in there, it's easily that. But that's
I'm
not
gonna
your
leave it
typical-
there.
That is not your
Yeah.
typical. You guys haven't played it, so I can't really. But it's not your typical
It's
RPG.
different.
Like, yes.
Yeah, it's different.
open
I'll leave it
world.
there for now.
Open world
I'll have my argument later. All right, Emerald. Where are we feeling about this one?
S tier easy.
I was about to say
I agree.
S tier, A tier.
I agree. In fact, I would put it over here. Gold and silver. I don't think this is making anyone's Mount
It's
Rushmore just based
No,
off the
I'd say
fact.
they're better than yellow, but that's about it.
Oh, you're crazy. Yellow was the first one that gave you all 3 starters.
Yeah.
That's the first one where you got to see your Pokemon follow you around. That game was goated. Craziness.
Those are a couple good features, but
I don't know if they make it S tier.
yeah, I like color.
I mean, they're the features that make that have made it to every
My
other
world
game
wasn't-
since. You know what I mean?
My world wasn't peed on.
Okay. I mean, for me, I'll be honest. Like, silver, gold, and crystal. Like that was peak Pokemon for me, and I like obviously Heart Gold and Soul Silver are just better versions of those games essentially. Even though the
Oh.
nostalgia factor, hold on. The nostalgia factor of playing the original 3 hit way harder for me, and I enjoy them way more. Like, my own personal Mount Rushmore would have these over Heart Gold and over Soul Silver. But the realist in me understands, like, most people would like the quality of life changes that these 2 games brought. So
The fact that it was pre-internet, with no idea once you beat the Elite Four, guess what? You're going back to Pallet Town, baby. Like, what? That was
Yeah.
so sick.
this is
Yeah.
back when you bought, like, the Brady's game guides or whatever.
Yup, and that's how you were able to get through the fucking maze in the goddamn game store.
They were just so fun, and I so badly wanna just say S tier, but, like, I know realistically
They're
it's
on my
probably
Rushmore.
here. They're on your Rushmore? Alright, I'll
Well,
leave.
Crystal was on my Rushmore.
Right, same. If I'm
Yeah.
picking one, I'm picking Crystal for sure. That's a given
Heart
for me
Gold
too.
is it would be on my Mount Rushmore for sure.
Okay. Alright, we'll keep because these are all
We'll keep
contenders.
it
These
there,
are
but
like
I'm just saying.
yeah. Has anyone played the Let's Go Eevee and Pikachus?
No, not me.
No, because they
Alright.
got grilled for being dog shit.
I didn't think they're that bad, but, like, it's nowhere near a Mount Rushmore for me. It's kinda needless to say, like, Ruby and Sapphire, as good as they are, like, we obviously like Alpha and Omega better, right? Like, there's no reason to put those up there.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd almost
I'd
drop
put
Red
'em
and Blue.
I'd put them in B. Yeah, like if you were gonna put them in.
So you would say these are, like, on the same level then, essentially?
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's fair,
drop
actually.
Heart, maybe drop or not drop. Yeah, drop Gold and Silver into B tier.
I agree with that, actually. Oops. No, that was Silver. Okay. I guess fuck it, I guess we are doing a fucking tier list after all.
What would you do? What would you do? Would you do? I'm curious, Zach. Would you do Heart Gold or Omega Ruby?
Me?
Everybody.
Heart
Uzi.
Gold?
Heart Gold and Soul Silver, easily.
That's what I thought as well.
Yeah.
I think I'm the same, and the reason it's just because of my nostalgia, if I'm being honest. I don't even know if it's necessarily the gameplay or the storyline. I think it's just my nostalgia. Sun and Moon. Has anyone played? These are the Alolan Pokemon, by the way. It's like the Hawaii
I
theme.
never played them.
Didn't play them
Nah,
either.
me neither.
I have played them. I've also played Ultra. Honestly, it doesn't do it for me either. So let's just get these out of the way. Make that real quick. Has anyone played Scarlet, and do you agree that it's in D tier?
Yeah. Just
Okay.
they're
And
serviceable.
Violet while we're at it. Yep.
Sword and
Pokemon
Shield,
Haven't
Sun
started
Shield.
Violet. I
I'd
have
put-
it.
Sword and Shield I would put in C.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're not as bad as Scarlet and Violet, but I didn't really care for it either. X and Y, I actually enjoyed. I don't know if anyone else has played these.
I loved them. They're in my Mount Rushmore personally.
I'd put them B. I
Dude,
enjoyed them.
That's
but
right.
Yeah.
That's where I was gonna have them was B as well.
The nickel trick, the endless egg hatching. Oh, I was a professional egg hatcher in X and Y. I love those games.
Okay. I obviously know some people have like differences here on the tier list. Does anyone want to discuss where they would move something of their own personal volition or
I mean, I argued already, but yellow's goated.
anything else? I mean, I know for
play
me,
yellow now though. Yellow, like you're
I
yellow
absolutely could.
and
If
have
if
fun.
Absolutely.
compared to the other
game,
game,
yeah,
like,
you're
try to
telling me-
make competitive Pokemon. I'm just out there to play a Pokemon game. And
I know, but
love
you're
yellow.
looking at all the games above yellow, and you're telling me that you would rather play yellow than those.
Yeah,
That's what I was gonna say.
That's the strongest nostalgia for me. So
Dude, I
yes.
might do it. If that's the thing, I might drop it one.
It's the one.
honestly.
It's the one that I have the most nostalgia for. So yeah, I'd play it
Honestly.
in a
So, well,
heartbeat.
that's what I'm saying. Like,
In a
All right.
heartbeat.
all right. So here's the thing: if we're doing a Mount Rushmore, that makes a lot more sense. If we're just doing a tier list, that's where I think.
That's why I was told Mount Rushmore. So
Well,
I
so
can
to-
prepare
so
for my
no,
Mount
no,
Rushmore.
No.
That's true.
We're doing both at this rate. I mean, we're already kind of halfway done this. We're more than halfway. Here, all right. Do you want to just finish out this tier list then? Where would we put Pokemon Yellow if we're doing a tier list? Fuck.
I mean, like, I
Would we
would
settle A?
put it personally. I'd put it C.
That's
Damn.
crazy. That's crazy.
I can't knock it down below B. There's no shot of that. If we're doing a tier list based off like nostalgia and everything else, like it's got to stay B at the minimum.
And you need to bump up Ruby and Sapphire then.
I don't argue
Can't
that.
do that. Can't do that.
I know I
Oh.
could. I mean, same thing with these. Like I would definitely put those
don't
up there.
do that.
Yeah, no, I would.
I think
Don't
yellow's
do
better
that.
than red and blue.
Yeah, I think you can keep red and blue and C. Honestly, right now, how we have the tier list, I think you could bump up Heart Gold and Soul Silver to S.
Yeah,
I would not argue that at all, personally.
If you, I was just I mean, I love Pokemon Arceus. If you have a Switch, I 100% like implore you to go get it and play it. It's a ton of fun. I think everyone would really enjoy it. It's actually the first Pokemon game that's like been like somewhat challenging in the last 15, 20 years too. So like that's another thing. But like if we want to drop it down because no one else has played it, I completely wouldn't
I've
argue with
played
that.
it. You already said it earlier, right? It's not your typical Pokemon RPG that we grew up on. It's definitely a different style of a game, but it keeps a lot of core elements that we're familiar with. But with that being said, I think when I buy a handheld Pokemon game, I'm expecting that linear progression. And that doesn't. This is very much more open of a game, which
Yeah.
a lot of people love, and I could appreciate that. It just wasn't for me. That's all.
Is that the
Like,
first 3D platformer one?
No, I
No.
believe. What was the other one?
The first Scarlet and White was.
Was
Or
it Violet? What came first? Pokemon Eve or Pikachu and Eevee, or
Pikachu and
Scarlet
Eevee.
Violet?
That came out with the hype of Pokemon Go, didn't it?
Yeah, but it's basically just Fire Red and Leaf Green.
But I thought it was like
Yeah.
Pokemon Go mechanics though.
No,
I
you could
don't-
buy
I
the
don't know,
little
I didn't
Pokeball
play it.
thing. Yeah,
Let's
there's
Go
like a
Eevee?
little accessory. There was a little accessory you could buy. All right, here's my real fucking take, and this is gonna be like, I know I'm gonna get shit for this, and I'm sorry, but like anything that was made on the Switch, I don't enjoy it just because of how big the console is to hold in my hands. It's not as portable as a Game Boy Advance or a Game Boy Advance SP is my favorite handheld of all time. But like it's not the same portability, so like I don't get the same like fanfare that I had as a kid, I guess. Like, you go to school with your Game Boy in your pocket. Like, you can't do that with a Switch. Like, kids these days have to bring a whole bag that they put in their backpack for the Nintendo Switch. It's not the same.
Yeah.
Same thing with the DS. Like I remember,
Same thing, yes.
Yeah.
Same thing with the DS. I agree with you, and that's why I don't think I enjoy like the 3DS games as much as the Game Boy Advance ones.
See, I didn't own a DS. I went from SP to 3DS.
Wow,
I also
your
wasn't a
parents
huge
did not
fan.
love you.
They didn't. That's
I
a
mean,
fact, actually.
I just didn't play Nintendo games in my
I
early teens.
also didn't. I didn't like the whole double screen thing. I don't know why. That just kind of felt weird to me.
I like the quality of life of having my bag and everything down on the second screen.
I feel like I rarely used it. I rarely used the
Terrible for
stylus.
emulators.
Yeah,
You
for
guys
real.
like didn't lay in bed and just draw on your Nintendo DS until 12:30 in the
No.
morning?
Nah, not really.
You didn't see how long it took you to scribble the whole entire screen black?
I mean, yes, I've done that, but like that's about it though. Like I never tried to
Give yourself
Picasso on
notes.
that bitch.
Oh yeah, I did. I had fucking
Okay. I mean,
murals saved in there.
hey, Picasso here, Picasso there. I don't know, man. It just wasn't my thing. But I do agree with most of these on this list. I mean, if it were my way, like Arceus would probably be more like BC personally. But I understand why you love it so much.
That's what I'm saying.
Um,
Like I'm the only person throwing it really up in S. I'm totally fine with moving it down. The only thing I would really change is just move Black and White 2 and Diamond and Pearl up.
Oh, yeah, I do agree with that right now. I would actually
agree.
even
I had to
say
go back and
B.
relook at it. Black and White 2 had a deeper
Black and White
Pokédex,
2, yeah, Black and
and it
White 2
was
are
the American one.
better.
I did like it.
I would put Black and White 2 in B, and then I would put OG Diamond and Pearl.
Yep.
I would put it in B, but if you want to put it in C, that's fine.
I think that's where it lives, honestly.
And I think honestly, I think this is a perfect tier list.
I think this is really good, actually. I agree. Damn. Okay. All right, fair enough. So we have our tier list figured out. Mount Rushmore time, fellas. I mean, we all agree Fire Red, Leaf Green, that's on there, right? I don't think anyone's going to say no to that.
This right here is my Mount Rushmore. Like, if we're just going, our S tier is
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah.
that is my Mount Rushmore. Like, that is what I came in planning with, and the only reason I had Arceus up there was like, okay, if you want to throw in a new game to be like different, I would have like swapped Arceus out for probably Heart Gold, Soul Silver. But like, if I'm being realistic, these are the 4 most played games, and they're the only ones that like I'd really want to go back and play like right now.
This is very close to what I have for mine. The substitutions I would have for mine, I would take out Heart Gold, Soul Silver, and play Crystal in, because I don't know why that game's just so good to me. And I would, you know what? I probably would leave Platinum in there. Actually, and that would be it. That's the only substitution I would make, I think. What about you, Vince?
I think that's my tier list right there, my Mount Rushmore. I think that's it. Except the only thing I might do, which is kind of crazy, you might say, but I might take Crystal up and Fire. If I'm bringing one down, I'm bringing Fire Red down and Leaf Green.
Really?
Yep.
You're a wild man. What about you,
It's
Eric?
between those two or
My
Well,
Mount
maybe Emerald.
Rushmore is, I guess, different than everybody else's because mine was yellow because that was my favorite one of all time. Crystal because I loved that one. Heart Gold, Soul Silver, and X and Y because those are the ones that really got me back into Pokemon. I went to the midnight release when I was living in New York to the Pokemon Center. Wasn't planning on buying one. When I was staying in line with a buddy, keeping him company, and then I bought it. No lifed it. Played competitive Pokemon for a little bit. It was a good time. I really did love that game.
That was X and Y?
Yeah. The Paris ones.
No, I agree. I did like X and Y. I mean, even Boozy said that too, right? I think you also liked X and Y.
No, X and Y are fun, but they're just not top tier for me. I
agree.
see like everything in like honestly everything from C and up I enjoyed. It's just different levels of enjoyment.
That's fair. I like that.
I would agree. The only really, Vince, you don't care for Fire Red, Leaf Green compared to Chris. I mean,
I think
I think
I'll like it better, but the thing is, like, Mount Rushmore, I would think it's like, I don't know, it's a little different.
I don't know. For me, it makes more sense to substitute Soul Silver and Heart Gold because it's the same, like, I don't know what you would call that.
It is, but there's
same title
huge
base.
differences in it. There's huge differences in it.
I guess.
There's the
I'm also-
physical special split, like physical attack.
I'm also just not
Special attack?
into the I'm just not into the DS games as much, I think, is my problem.
I mean like I obviously I love Fire Red, Leaf Green, Emerald. Like those were like those were like the first games that I understood and like could play all the way through as a kid and like beat the Elite Four kind of stuff like that. But the DS games were like I mean like especially for Platinum, the expansions they made for like online and like playing against each other and like that Battle Frontier for Platinum, like the replayability and like the amount of hours I got out of those DS games compared to everything else are just like leaps and bounds over everything.
Yeah, I guess replayability should be like a big factor that I'm not really considering, but I mean, it makes sense.
But
Eric,
like we said, we got the tier list down. The Mount Rushmore's definitely subjective. Like if we're
I
coming
agree.
to a group
Yeah.
agreement, then yeah, I think what we have right now is perfect. But like obviously, like we all said, we all have different Mount Rushmores.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Something else to take note for X and Y is that's the generation we got the Pokebank, which I think was a sick ad that didn't really get the long-term support that it should have. But being
Remind me
able
what
to
that
get your
was?
so the Pokebank was for I guess it might have been bigger in like people
It
who
was a
were when
separate
people were
app,
doing
right?
yeah, when people were doing competitive Pokemon stuff, like being able to get Pokemon
Right.
from other games into your game
Right. Okay. It
yeah,
rings a bell
to
now.
build
It rings a
teams
bell.
and stuff. That I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
mattered a lot.
See, you were more competitive with Pokemon. I think all of us here were
Yeah.
more like
I
we
was
just
when I
wanted to have
got the
fun.
3DS. When I got the 3DS one, I was. That's
I
when
mean,
like
I
IV training and shit and all that.
yeah, see, like fuck that. Just go play Showdown.
Agreed. Yes, exactly. Pokemon
Yeah.
Showdown.
But you want to test sometimes you want to play physical. It's like playing the emulator versus playing the real one. Sometimes you just want to play the real one.
I feel that, I guess. I just man. Because Emerald
Agree with that if I didn't have to spend 12 hours just to get one
See,
Pokemon for the team that's
I
able.
didn't. That's the thing is I didn't because I was breeding. I was breeding perfect Pokemon every day and then trading them for fully 100 IV and EV trained Pokemon.
Yeah, but you still had to
nerd.
spend your time to like you
No,
still
that's
had to
why the nickel trick was so great because I would just put the nickel under the thumbstick and let him spin around the Eiffel Tower until everything hatched with the flame body in the front all day, every day, just rinse and repeat, and it was just easy. It was so
I mean, that is, I guess our definitions of easy differ because that sounds like a fuck ton of effort.
nah. You literally just put a nickel under your thumbstick and let it do it by itself, and then you look down like, oh, it's done. Put them in the box.
See, here's my
Reset.
thing with that. Like, you're not actually playing the game.
No,
So
that was
it's-
just a means to an end to get perfect Pokemon.
Right. It's a different kind
Which-
of grind.
Yeah,
Right.
like that doesn't sound
Hate
fun to me.
Exactly. That's where I'm getting at. I think
Hey,
most
it's a
of us
different
like
aspect of it, different side of it.
yeah.
We all sat there in Diablo and dungeon crawled in the same thing for an hour.
But we're
just to
doing stuff. We're like attacking and swinging swords and shit.
get,
This is
this is just doing it in the background.
you went away and went to McDonald's. Like it's
Yeah,
different.
I'd go to work and I'd come home and I'd have hatched
All
Pokemon.
right. I'm not arguing. It's just I don't know. Different versions of fun, like Boozy said, I guess.
Yeah, just
He's
just
out
for
here
the
breeding Pokemon. That's
I was in
interesting.
like the back. This was before Discord. So I was in like Facebook groups trading Pokemon with people to get perfect Pokemon, breeding Pokemon for people to do it. Oh, it was trading services. I'd trade hatching Pokemon for training up Pokemon.
I'm gonna see. All right, here's what I'm gonna do because we're gonna close this out. We pretty much are done. Closing thoughts. I think we should just all one by one just say what our Rushmore is. I'm gonna try to like put a graphic up of all of our Rushmores like side by side in comparison. Not right now, like it'll when the episode drops. But I'm just gonna go left to right. Vince, what would you say your Mount Rushmore was again? I know you said Soul Silver, Heart Gold. You were thinking about subbing out for Crystal.
I was thinking about
Or no,
actually
Fire Red and
subbing
Leaf Green.
out. Yeah, Fire Red, Leaf Green for Crystal.
So these would be yours. That would be your Mount Rushmore right there. Crystal, Emerald, Soul Silver / Heart Gold, and
That's
Platinum.
it.
Okay. Boozy. What would your? I know you said this is pretty much.
Yep, just flip flop out Crystal, and that's my top 4 right there.
Well, yeah. What we have up here as S tier
Yep.
is your. Okay.
Yep.
Would you put Arceus in your Mount Rushmore instead of something?
Well, that's the thing. Like, if I'm trying to be different and like add
It's your Mount Rushmore. You make the
add
rule.
some variety, no, probably not. It's an honorable mention.
This is it.
It's these
All
4. Yeah, if like we're just going off my favorite 4 Pokemon games that I've ever played, it's these 4.
Eric, you're the oddball. What's yours
Yup.
again? You said you had yellow. What
Yellow,
else?
Crystal, Heart Gold, Soul Silver, X and Y.
X and Y. Okay. All right. Fair enough. I just wanted to make sure I have a screenshot for later when I make that graphic. I think that's it, boys. I don't think there's anything else to really add here. I don't know if anyone has any closing thoughts before I close this out.
I think I'm about to play a whole bunch more Pokemon games.
I was about to
Have you been
say,
playing any of those emulator hacks, Rom?
I was just about to say, if you guys really want probably the best Pokemon game I've ever played, download Pokemon Radical Red.
Oh, it's the Team Rocket one, right?
Rocket
No,
Red.
it's a ROM hack of Fire Red and Leaf Green, and it has every single Pokemon. It has Megas, it has Z moves, it's literally every mechanic of Pokemon that's ever been created is in the game. It has a difficulty slider, so you can up the difficulty. You can run it as a Nuzlocke, which I don't know if anybody watches like Pokemon YouTube videos and stuff like that, but that's like if
Too
your Pokemon
extreme.
if your Pokemon dies, you can't use it. Can't heal in battle, stuff like that. All of the gyms are more difficult. The story's completely different and updated. You have to go back and run the gyms a second time before you can go like verse Giovanni and stuff like that. And everyone has a harder team. It's amazing. It's everything you want from a like actually difficult Pokemon game in like now for like people our age.
I want to get that link or something like that.
I'll send
Radical
you the
Red.
Discord link right now.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah,
the one
me
you're
too,
currently
please.
playing, Vince?
Right now I'm finishing up Heart Gold and Soul Silver, and I kind of started Violet actually. I have it.
How do you feel about it?
Meh so far.
Yeah,
Not
alright.
you know.
I didn't like it, so I'm just curious.
The thing is, like, I mean, I probably haven't gotten like, I literally just started, so I probably didn't even save to the point where I saved my new Pokemon. But like, I haven't gotten to the point where the glitches and all the complaints have come from, so I'll keep you updated.
Word. All right. Well, with that being said, I think that's it, fellas. Good talk, good chatting with you guys, and until next time.
Till next time.
See you
Later.
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 All right, you made it this far. That was the 2 sessions that I had planned for this episode. So I appreciate you guys for listening in and watching if you're watching on YouTube. And once again, I just, I'd appreciate any kind of feedback or criticism, thoughts on actually doing. I mean, we're going to probably keep doing recordings of video if it's like deemed necessary or possible, maybe. I don't know about like actual like face cams or anything like that. I don't know who would be interested in that. But for things like tier listing and things that would aid listeners with visuals, I think we're going to keep looking into doing recordings of the screen for that kind of stuff. I know when we did the sports teams rankings and all that, like it's kind of hard to follow along if you don't see what we see. So I think it's kind of important or critical for an audience person to see what we're seeing when we're describing it, because words can only get you so far, especially when we're all familiar with said logos or said visuals and maybe you, the viewer, are not. So I'm going to keep that in the back of my mind whenever we're doing these recordings. With that being said, though, it is spooky season, and I just kind of want to, I guess reflect would be the word on this time of year. I love the fall, like autumn time, fall weather season. Like this is my favorite time of year. I love everything that kind of comes out of it. It kind of leads into the holiday season. It is also like, I love the weather. The weather is my favorite. I love hoodie weather. It's like comfort weather, if you will. You can dress very comfortable and it's fashionable. And I feel like a lot of people get together more this time of year, whether it's like, going to the pumpkin patches or whatever, meetups for like spooky stuff and, whatever your taste is. Food is also good this time of year. I feel like apple cider, stuff like that, the hot drinks and such. Kind of rambling here. I guess I'll actually tell a little spooky story real quick before we kind of head out and close out the rest of the show. So when I was younger, living in Collingswood, New Jersey, had a really good friend. His name was Jerry, and we hung out like almost every day. He was a couple grades older than me. I think he was in 6th grade when I was like in 3rd grade, maybe in elementary school. Or maybe we were like a grade closer. I don't quite remember. But either way, we would hang out all the time at the apartment complex we lived at. And one day, we hung out at Night of Lie, and we would play this game called Mission. Some of you who've heard me in the past on different podcasts, you probably have heard this before, but just as a quick indicator of what this is, Mission was a game we would play, be along with a bunch of other kids that lived at this apartment complex. And typically it was always played at night. And the idea of the game was you would have to get from point A to point B without being seen by anyone. And I mean anyone. Like us, we're fine. Like we're all on the same team. And so it's like a co-op, you know? Like we're all on the same team. We're just all trying to get from A to B. Like we would try to help each other, signal to each other, like when it's safe to go, stuff like that. It's, you know, today, in today's age, it's like, it's kind of, it's probably a bad idea to play this game outside, like in the wild, in the public. But back then, I mean, people that lived in our area or lived in the apartment complex knew we were just like being kids. So this one neighbor of ours actually would like play along with us. Like if he saw us, he would start chasing us and like start laughing. So that was the premise. So we would always like wear black clothing. I could see now, like looking back on it, it probably looks like we're up to no good, like trying to like be thieves or something. Definitely was not the case at all. We were literally just playing our game because it was fun. And our parents wanted us to go outside. So that's what we did outside. Yeah. So anyway, one day, it was just me and Jerry. We're playing Mission at night. And there's this portion of the apartment complex behind the building where it's kind of like a slim, narrow alleyway. It's one side of the alleyway is like the brick building aspect of behind the apartments, and then across from that in the alleyway is a bunch of tree shrubs that you can kind of see through, but not too much. And then there's houses the rest of the way. So we're making our way around the apartment complex, and typically we didn't make the objective like a far distance. Like we weren't going like blocks and blocks away. It was usually within like a block or two. And then out of nowhere, we're kind of like thrown off when we're walking around and we're going down the alleyway, or about to start going down the alleyway. And down the alleyway, like on the apartment side, the brick side, there's like little cubbies that like you could kind of like, you know, be hidden. And we would use it all the time. Like we would hide in the cubby if we thought someone was at the end of the alleyway, could see us. So we're walking down, coming up to one of these cubbies, and we noticed like we heard some ruffling, you know, some leaves or whatever. Didn't think too much of it. And then closer we got, a guy comes from out of the cubby or whatever and like looks at us, and all of a sudden he lights a cigarette or something. I don't know what he had. And like the lighter is like so big in the flame, and the guy looked like he was like burnt already. Like it was kind of weird. So we hauled ass out of it. Like it was the fastest I think I've ever ran in my life. We just booked it all the way back to like the apartment building that we lived in, and just kind of like out of breath, like hid for a while. And we kind of dubbed that guy a fire starter. That was the pyromaniac that we ran into that night. We dubbed him forever as fire starter, and I haven't seen him since. That was the only time we ever ran into him, so we don't know if it was just like a one-off, someone that was just kind of passing by, looking for a place to like smoke in peace or something, and we threw him off or whatever. I don't know. I have no idea what the situation was. We didn't go back to find out. But I feel like that night, me and Jerry kind of started that lore of Firestarter, and kind of like told like friends, and then people told other people, and I feel like it started as this like little like urban legend in our area. Probably not anymore. It's probably a dead legend at this point, but yeah, that was something. I want to even say it was like around this time of year, like October, November, maybe. Like it was fall weather. I kind of remember being like very brisk. You could see your breath out when you're breathing and whatnot. So that was like one of the spooky moments of my childhood I can definitely recall. I think I was maybe I was a little bit older at this point. Maybe I was like in 4th grade or maybe 5th grade. I don't really remember the exact age I was, but I was definitely really young. And it's kind of like the Stranger Things kids, you know, like around that age when they first started out, or supposed to be when they first started out. But yeah, like I love this time of year. I love spooky season. I'm not like the biggest fan of horror and scares and stuff, but like I do enjoy it here and there. And this time of year, like I enjoy it like that much more. Like I've been playing games with friends, like co-op games that are like spooky themed, like going around in a house, or like it's haunted, or we're at like a nuclear facility that got invaded by like aliens, and there's jump scares here and there. And it's been a really fun time. I love this time of year for like everything. I don't think there's anything I don't like about this time of year. Because it's not snowing yet. Yeah, there's rain, but at least it's not snowing, and I just love the weather. It's just my favorite. I don't think I really have anything else to add to that story. That was pretty much it. I can't really recall any other scary stories like off the top of my head. And I guess what I'm doing this year, now that I can like have fun again and like live my own life again, I'm going to a party where I'll be dressing up as Soup Can Sam. For those unaware, it's a reference to the TV show Psych, and the party I'm going to, there's quite a few people that have watched Psych and are obsessed with it like I am, so they'll understand the reference. But just picture me dressing up as a homeless guy, essentially, like a specific looking homeless guy, like a green scarf, big tan jacket with a hat on, big bushy beard that I got off of Amazon, ripped jeans, that kind of deal. The main character of Psych is kind of like really keen on details and remembering and having like a photographic memory. And one episode he kind of puts himself undercover and dubs himself as Soup Can Sam, the homeless guy, to try to get information. So pretty much just stealing the outfit and going with that. My backup costume was to dress up as a same show, same character. In one episode he dresses up as a like a parcel delivery guy, like a UPS driver, like the brown outfit for shipping packages or whatever, and like the delivery driver. And on the show his name was Chad, but it's funny, in the show he was playing in a show which was like a Spanish soap opera. His name was Chad, and he was the delivery guy on that show. And it's just funny. I mean, if you watch Psych, you understand what I'm saying, and it's a funny reference. If not, then it's kind of like weird. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. That's my Halloween this year. I don't know if I really have anything else to add to that. Oh, spooky board games. I've been really hitting board games hard again since the past couple months, and spooky board games have definitely like entered my life, which has been really fun. And some of these are like really good co-op games too, but I don't want to bore you to death too much on that. Anyway, I think that's pretty much it. We're gonna wrap this up. We're gonna call it here, and I do believe this is going to be a monthly episodic thing until something else is figured out. And so the next episode inevitably will be November. I'm going to try to aim for like the mid time of month. So like the Ides of whatever month. So like the 15th. And I undoubtedly it'll probably be in reference to like Thanksgiving time and stuff like that. But anyway, anywho, gonna head out, and that's pretty much it. Check us out on social media, Spud Session, pretty much everywhere you look. And yeah, you can find it in the show notes and all that. And I'm gonna be putting in a bunch of show notes for this episode from like the NHL 94 session that I had with Alan and Drew. Maybe I'll try to include some of everyone's personal Mount Rushmores for the Pokemon games, and from myself, Zach, Eric, and Vince. And pretty much go from there. And I think that's pretty much it. I appreciate you guys listening in, and until next time.
Memories spinning around my head seem pretty cavalier. Little by little you take control.